Welcome back. Nobody entered the damn giveaway. I'm claiming it. It's Ronan's giveaway
Aw.
now. It's mine. So thank you guys. Appreciate it. Anyway, so we're back with our guests. So let's get started with that. I'm going to introduce them and then we will get to some questions. I'm going to try to introduce them this time because I got called out last week for not introducing. So my first guest, I think, is going to be on my right. I'm not on the stream up, but is April Hill. She plays the Overseer on Vault 42 and all things Kai on everything else. So she plays. I'm going to try to get this right. Kyriel on Realms. She plays Killian on Wizards. Oh damn! Who was your melee character?
Kyrigan.
Yeah. Oh, and then there's a vampire one
Kylene.
too. Yeah, Kylene.
Kylene.
I was gonna say that. I know that one's based off of the Underworld character, so I was gonna attempt to guess there. And then you can find her at the _ critator on Instagram. That is like Crytator, but with an I.
It's like creator and
Right.
crit.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Crit creator.
I like Crytator. And then my next guest is Justin Navarre. He plays Marcus. Yeah, I know. I practiced that one. He plays Marcus Cole. Is it Cole? Marcus.
Yeah.
On the Wasteland Fighter on Vault 42. And do you have any socials? Do you do the social thing?
No, I do not do the social thing.
I kind of do. It's a very technicality thing. Okay, so welcome you guys, and thank you for joining me. And I kind of explain what's going on because it's been a while for you, April, and Justin, I know you've never been here. So basically we go back and forth with questions. Transitions are optional. We'll just kind of bounce back and forth between you guys. And specifically for April, I know I got a couple additional non-Vault 42 questions that are wizard related. So we'll get to those later.
Oh no.
But we'll do you,
yes,
ladies
I
first.
would kill vegan.
Okay,
I would.
I need to backspace this
that's one of the questions. I'll go ahead and...
It's not exactly. Okay, so first question's for you, April. So it has been a minute since you've been on the show. You are a bit further into the campaign than the last time we spoke. So how are you liking the system so far? And are there any highlights or things that you would change?
Which one?
Sorry,
which
Vault.
game?
Vault.
Oh,
yeah. All these are going to be Vault until we get to the end.
Okay.
So you're running, unique system. So
yeah.
How are you liking it?
It's great. It's great. It's really interesting not having magic as in Dungeons and Dragons. Like that's one of my favorite aspects of it.
Sure.
But I do love Fallout. So, and Alicia is playing an artificer, which has some it has magic, but you have to make it work in the real world. So that's been really fun. Like when she was going to cast, I can't remember what it was, but she made an antiseptic and did healing that way instead of it being like a cure wounds type situation where I'm like, I healed thee. It was like, no, here's a thing, wipe it on yourself. And so that's been fun trying to figure that out.
I don't even know if I had this question asked. It just occurred to me. So on the other aspects of it, so like the eating and drinking and things like that, do you micromanage that? Do you do the honor system with that? Like how do you do that with your group as far as keeping track of who's eating and drink what?
So far it hasn't been a problem because they did the first few episodes. They were well, Ash was like taking all of Marcus's food, and some of them did have food. Well, it was mainly just Marcus. That I warned them. I was like, by the way, you're gonna have to eat and drink, and if you don't, there's gonna be consequences. And everybody's like, I'm gonna spend all my money on other things.
Right.
And I mean, you saw Clay comes into town, and Clay's like, I have no food, I have no water.
It's like still off the picnic table.
Scraps on the yes, exactly. And I'm like, I mean, that works. That's part of Fallout is going through stuff and finding stuff. So I mean, that works. But for the most part, I've been paying attention because they've been on the farm, and so Hannah's been
right. That's true. Yeah, they've had pretty good access to it so far.
Yeah, but no, I'm still definitely keeping that because it can get interesting if
Sure.
something happens with
It
that.
made me think though, like if I ever play this system, I'm just going to be what is Ash, a super mutant? So I don't have the radiation aspect of it because I'm not a good manager of those sort of things. So I'd just be like, all right, well, as long as I'm immune to this, I don't have to worry about it.
Well, Tipper doesn't even have to eat or drink.
That's true. Yeah, that's
and
true.
she's immune to radiation.
Yeah,
so
that's true. She would be the better choice.
Yeah, but she can't heal with stim packs. She has to have something else, which hasn't come up yet. So.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think about that. So she can't use some of those natural things that she was creating. Huh, interesting.
She can't use what she can make.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's a neat system, and I don't know if I told you or who I was talking to about it, but I think it's a nice kind of direction, different. Like it's just kind of like fresh to have on the channel, something that's similar enough to D&D that like it's my son's favorite. Because he likes D&D, but also he's a huge Fallout fan. So it's just it has all that multiple audiences can appeal to it. So super fun. Also, your battle maps are dope. Okay.
You'll like this week's if we get to it. It's so awesome. I'm so excited. Frozen. I want to like poke him.
All right. Am I frozen? Am I back?
You're back.
You're back.
Jesus. I don't even know what I was saying now.
I cast Shocking Grasp on Thingan.
Are we back? Are we on?
Like, Stunning Strike.
Are we on?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah. I can't see. I don't have to stream up. All right, cool. So I think I just complimented your battle maps. I said it's a fun system. It is my son's favorite to watch on the network because it combines two of his favorite things, right? So D&D and Fallout. He's also a huge Fallout fan. And he does love the battle map. So huge shout out for that. You have my 11-year-old's attention.
I feel bad for cursing.
Hello.
Well, yeah.
But cool. All right. So Justin, so you are new to the network, right?
Yes.
So go ahead and do like kind of an expanded introduction for everybody. Just kind of tell us a little bit about yourself, your history with D&D, all that sort of stuff. Just kind of your intro there.
Sure. I'm not new to role-playing games per se. I'm a little bit new to D&D. I've only been playing for probably about 2.5 years, 3 years.
Okay.
I can't remember the exact time frame. Is it 4? Okay.
It's been, yeah.
Before that, we did Dresden Files RPG for a couple years. Based on a book. That was Fate, using the Fate system. That was a lot of fun. Really emphasized the role-playing aspect. And then before that, we did Titan's Grasp, which is, I think that's what it was called. We saw it on Will Wheaton's tabletop thing.
A while
ago. That was a while back. We played that for a year or two. It's fairly similar to D&D.
Titan's Grave?
Grave, that's the one. Yeah,
somebody just mentioned
Grasp.
that.
Grasp, I don't really remember. It was a lot of fun. Prior to that, I did a lot of different role-playing type games, but never
Fiasco.
Quite like D&D. Fiasco.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, we love that.
Fiasco was great.
Yeah. And when we started Dresden Files, we had a designated DM for a while, but when we started Dresden Files, he also does a lot of other games, so it wasn't really as fair to him to just have to always DM. So I took on some DM responsibility, so we split it and we continued that with D&D. But I've always enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun. They're not just the role playing aspect, but the world creating aspect. It's a fun system, and you get to play with usually a bunch of great people.
Right.
And I had no idea what I was getting into when we did this with the Fallout, because those guys are like really good.
Yeah.
So it's been fun.
Right. Yeah, I agree. How many years altogether have you been playing? Just sort of role playing games in general?
Well, role play life probably my entire life, but these type of games specifically 7-8 years maybe.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the community. Glad you're here.
Yeah.
Welcome to Fable.
Good to be here.
Okay, cool. All right, April.
Yes.
Were you surprised? But damn it. That never is not intimidating. Were you surprised that the group was so suspicious of Hannah, particularly because no one seemed to assume anything was strange with the fucking robot that was in their group for the longest time?
Uh, yes and no. I mean, I put turrets all around her house.
Sure.
It's like
But that could be explained. I mean, she's out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and she's alone now because
Sure.
her husband died again because they killed him. And I mean, she wasn't gonna let them in her house. Like they kept trying to get in her house, and I'm like,
Yeah.
why would a little old lady? I mean, she's not that old and she's not that little, but
Oh.
why would she let you in her house when she doesn't know you?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
no.
I think some of it's just sort of the nature of role-playing games where
Yes.
everything is a quest, because I agree. She did not like, I gave her a lot of shit in these recaps, and even in this one still said she was shady as fuck. But she didn't really do anything that was like outside of what I would do if I was like in the middle of a farm by myself.
Exactly. She's not Janice. She doesn't have a magical teapot, and
Yeah.
Janice is fully sus. Hannah, not so much.
Yeah, Janet. Yeah, that's 100% accurate. That's fair.
Janice is Pyreal. I know it. Or something. She's some kind of demigod. There's
she
something.
she just unfurls herself. Yeah, that's true. I was slightly shocked that they were that adamant. I guess Tipper had a reason. Tipper was interested in the mechanical aspect and stuff like that. Petra just was straight skeptical, like from the get-go. That didn't make any damn sense outside of the fact that, I don't know, maybe she's just naturally suspicious of people, but I didn't feel like Hannah really gave much reason outside of the fact that she did kind of gloss over how the hell Harry just became a ghoul. She was like, you fell into a barrel. Just leave it at that.
I mean, I did that for a reason.
That's true.
Like,
yeah. No questions.
Think.
Yeah, don't dive into that. You don't need to know.
No.
That's true. All right, cool. All right, Justin, sort of a bounce off that first question, because I don't know how much you've done this, if at all. So how does it feel? Is this your first time playing on a stream? And then how does that experience differ, or what do you dislike about all of that?
I don't know if I dislike anything about it. Well, at least not yet. Give me some time.
Sure.
When I make him cry.
That's only
in
happened
public.
once.
I'm just kidding.
Only happened once. Honestly, it's fairly similar to, or at least how I treat it is fairly similar to a home game. Just being to have to voice out a little bit more of what you're doing, I guess.
Yeah, I can see that.
You are playing for an audience as opposed to just a group setting. That's probably the biggest difference, is being a little bit more direct and specific with your role play.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on the character, I guess, but it's probably the biggest difference, and maybe the biggest challenge is to remember that there is an audience. You're not just playing with 4 people at a table or whatever.
Yeah. Or 7. Oh my God. Yeah. Or 8. How big is our home group? We've got like.
Wait, it's gone up to 8 or 9 with a guest star. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's a solid group. On a consistent basis.
We consistently pull 6 or 7.
Dang. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Which is a challenge in other ways, not just for the players and role play, but also as a DM.
Combat is long.
Combat. We had to adopt a lot of extra rules for combat to have it go
efficient and that sort of thing. Yeah. I mean, I didn't start doing this sort of stuff until COVID and all that, but the thing that I sort of don't like about streaming, it's just the table aspect. Like the home game thing is just good. Like the passing out, like, physically touching stuff like the flyers or maps or whatever the DM prepares and all those sort of things. I do like and sort of miss when I'm streaming.
Also, that personal interaction too, of being at a table with people.
Yeah, and I feel like you can read people better at a table. Yeah, snacks. Primo, but I think reading people helps with role play that you may not, or that you may miss something on stream and that sort of thing. But,
and I do like also the fact that we're doing, I guess on Zoom right now, but being able to see people is nice, because right now we're on our home game, we're doing it on Tabletop Simulator, but I would like to add the stream just people can see people.
Yeah. Well, that's the good thing about, I think, one of the things I like about Zoom or however you do it, Vorp or
Right.
whatever, you can kind of see everybody's reaction at once. So that's
Yes.
kind of nice. You don't miss anybody's anything. I was really nervous about starting like something like this too, but honestly, like once you get into the community and stuff like that, it's just like I feel like I'm just hanging out with a bunch of friends every Friday, just talking about shit that we normally talk about in general chat anyway. So you get used to it. But cool. All right, so I don't know where I'm at. Oh, April. So at the start of the campaign, okay, this is really me. I wouldn't have guessed this. At the start of the campaign, would you have guessed Clay and Petra would already be in this sort of relationship? And who at the start, before anybody said the first word of roleplay, who were your ships? Who did you think would?
Oh boy. Okay. I did not see that coming.
I didn't either.
They definitely have gone in. Okay, I knew right off the bat, and it's so funny because Alicia and Bree are friends. They've been friends for a long time. So when they told me which characters they were choosing and their backgrounds, I was like, oh, I didn't tell them. I did not tell them.
Yeah, the conflict there, like, yeah, for sure.
They're gonna hate each other. I was so excited for that.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
I knew that was gonna happen, and it has. As far as shipping though, like I didn't see any kind of. I didn't see really anything happening.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there would be on paper. I don't think. Like from what I understand of each of the characters right now.
Yeah, I mean, we touched on it a little bit. Like like Petra and Marcus knew each other kind of before the campaign started, because he had delivered to her butcher shop a few times,
right,
and seen her, like they've seen each other around. So they had a little bit of a relationship before all this. So, but I mean, I didn't foresee that being a romantic thing either. I didn't see any of this, and I love it though. It's interesting.
It's neat. I think it adds a definite unique aspect. That I don't know if this is true. Maybe it's just the way that you guys sort of play your characters. But in my head, when I'm watching it, the reason I never saw like Marcus and Petra was Marcus seems like on a different maturity level, maybe not significantly older, but seems older than Petra. Just the way you guys play them.
Different codes.
Like, yeah, I guess maybe that's it. Different sort of lifestyles and that sort of thing. So I never saw that as being a thing. But I never saw Clay being a thing either. But it's cool. I think it's really neat, and I think I always like that sort of stuff because like the farming became more interesting, became funny, with them two doing their thing. So like all that sort of stuff just adds to it. I think it's great. But I was just curious to know if you would have guessed that because that one was out of left field for me. Cool. All right. Okay. So Justin, I know that you said this before. I think you said it at the very beginning of the first show, but I don't remember what you said specifically. What was the inspiration for Marcus?
Probably a lot of different sources.
Sure.
There's two characters that I always enjoyed watching. On a lot of my characters have inspiration from television or movies.
Yeah.
Raylan Givens from Justified.
Okay.
That's kind of a lot of his physical appearance and some of his mannerisms might come from, as well as Marcus Cole from Babylon 5. Now, that's a shout out from like early 90s, but
right.
I always enjoyed that character. That's what he was named after. And his background is also modeled heavily after that character's background.
Oh, okay.
As well, which we haven't really dived into too much, but
I think I have a question about that later. That I do the same thing. So I sort of, maybe you can elaborate on how you sort of design your characters a little bit, but that's sort of what I do is I kind of create, or I kind of think about the type of character I want, and then somebody that is sort of analogous to that, whether that be through film, book, movie, whatever.
Yes.
And then
once I knew I was going to do, especially in the setting, so it was a semi-modern, slightly in the future setting.
Yeah, right.
And so guns would be in play. I was thinking I was going to do a gunslinger, which we had to slightly modify for the system.
Right.
And then I was thinking of what does that look like? And I was thinking of those kind of characters, and that's started what I based what they would, their appearance and some of their mannerisms would be. Yeah.
I definitely want to play something like this because I do like that sort of there's not a lot of like Western sort of things, and you can kind of get into some of that with this, which I think is really neat. Like I've always wanted to play, sort of a Firefly type character.
Yeah, there is a Firefly RPG out there.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah,
we
I know.
we chose Dresden Files over it, but I've always wanted. I think we actually have it. We have it. We actually have the campaign setting.
I want to do something like that so bad. Yes. Next.
Yeah.
We're level 17 in our campaign right now, so I'm voting that we do that next.
That would be a lot of fun, I think. Cool. So yeah, that makes sense. I think a lot of people do something similar to that. Sorry, I'm reading chat as I'm trying to talk. The Leo.
It's an inside joke. And it's
I'm
I was like, what?
Leo. I'm not the Leo of this group, Cody. There's only one Leo.
You kind of are the Leo of this group.
How would I be the Leo of this group?
You're the good North Star of this group right now.
So far he's been good. He doesn't take everything literally though.
Oh, I actually have a question about that in a second here. Hold on. Sorry. But all right, so back to April. How do you think Hannah will feel or fare after the group leaves? Obviously she's still completely on her own now. She's going to be kind of insane, I think, and now she has 2 non-functioning turrets.
3.
Oh, 3. Yeah, 3. There's 3. Yeah.
So everybody keeps getting it wrong. Like.
Yeah, no, there were 3. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you're
she. Right. Well, no. They function. It's just they have been hacked to not see Alicia's character.
Oh, okay. So they're still gonna help her out.
Yeah, they still work. Bummer. Yeah. But she does have her Mr. Handy unit, which I mean that's what she needed to help maintain the farm. She still has all of her defenses up. She doesn't have a remote anymore, but. More about that tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh no! What is she gonna do before they leave? That's gonna be terrible.
Oh yeah. Oh, I can't wait. I've got plans. There's things that I have planned for what's gonna happen. So we'll see.
Good.
We'll see if
yeah, they kind of left it like they got paid, right? They got paid for their half for your trip back, right? To back to Rita. Did you guys you got the stuff to take to Rita too, right?
Yeah, we got that.
Yeah, so you don't need to talk to Hannah again if not necessary.
I mean, probably should. I mean, otherwise, if we ever return, we're gonna find her like her corpse hanging from the porch.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I hope that happens.
I don't.
Hey, that's terrible.
She strikes me as like a B. Arthur type.
She does. Yeah, dude. All she wants to do is serve tea, and everybody hates her.
She's also freakishly strong.
She's Janice.
No, she's not. You're just really weak.
No, she was like she had like a little bit of super mutant in her. And I don't think April really got to illustrate that, but she was a super strong character.
Yeah, I mean, farm life. She grew up.
Well, she was able to use that boat anchor as a chain around the shed. I mean,
yeah.
How else do you explain that?
The one you couldn't pick up.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to pick it up.
He picked it up. He just couldn't throw it.
Sure. I'm kind of curious to see because right now you're not on a good note. So I'm sure that it'll probably be the same half of the people that wanted to explore the cellar that are just like, all right, let's bounce. So it's gonna be interesting. All right, cool. I forgot who asked this question. I should have wrote it down. It's for Justin. There seems to be some tension between Marcus and Ash, like at all given times.
I asked that question.
Did you ask that? Okay, I couldn't remember if it was you or somebody else. What kind of tension is that, and how does he feel about her?
I mean, it's hard for me to see that there's not tension with Ash and everyone.
Yeah, but it's special with Marcus. It really is different. It really is different.
I don't know. Marcus does seem to be more willing to challenge her, I guess, in some instances, and she probably doesn't like that. The
challenge under your breath as you're walking away.
Well, sure, she's a super mutant, and you saw how I fared with B. Arthur. I mean, I don't know if I'm not gonna take on a super mutant.
Right. Yeah, you're like me with my big sister when I was little. You're like,
yeah. Marcus is not an idiot. He's not going to
that's fair. That's
challenge Ash directly under his breath. Sure.
Sure.
I don't know. I don't think it wasn't deliberate. I don't think. I think it just kind of happened naturally through the role play that maybe some tension was created.
I can see that happening, April. I don't know where you stand on it, but I can see it. It's a very I don't really even know how to describe it.
Well, she likes rule. She has her rules and stuff, and he follows the rules.
He's very straight laced. Very straight laced.
It's like they just naturally, like, she wants law and order, and he is the law and order, and they're just like.
And she demands to be like, have it her way, and he will bend to make it her way.
That's what's happening here.
You know, Marcus may be a power bottom in.
It's okay. I didn't want to say it again, but since you brought it up, it's fine.
This is possible.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, there you go, April. There's your answer.
Love it.
Okay. So, let's see. Oh, this is for me personally, because I know it's only been brought up like a tiny bit, and it'll be brought up more later, but whatever. Can you go ahead and tell us, non-spoilery, about a little bit about the group that Clay used to belong to and sort of what their motives are? Like,
or be spoilery. That's fine too.
No spoilers, but just kind of generally, like, what the group, what Clay would know, or maybe not Clay because he's probably too in on it, but the general public, what the general public would understand about this group.
Okay. So, I mean, it's kind of already been brought up. I guess the players don't know really. I mean, it came up in the show, like, how much they do know about it, or at least
Right.
Petra. So he's former Enclave, which the Enclave in Fallout, they're known as being kind of like the Nazis, like.
Right.
Like it's very much I don't want to get in trouble politically with everything that's going on right now, because I can believe that, but they're very much in the if you're not American and you're not this and this and this and this and this, then GTFO. They had a lot of dealings before the war where they had spies and stuff, especially with China and stuff like that. So they they're just like a supremacist group.
Okay, right. Very national.
Yeah, lots of power.
Gotcha.
Lots of power. They have a lot of dealings with the shadow government, and
And that's what he stems from? That's what Clay stems from?
A part of it.
Part of it.
Part of why he left.
And then his dad, I know that this was mentioned on the show, so there's nothing spoiler there, but his dad is currently, or not, well, I guess that's my question. We know he was looking for them. Do we know if he's currently looking for them? We'll have to find out.
Clay, as far as you know, Clay just left. His mom.
Oh,
left.
yeah. Okay. So
that's
it's relatively soon, isn't it, for him?
And it has, I don't think it's come up where he left from. Nope. Where this base was from, but and then you also know that his mom, because you heard the holotape, she left about 4 or 5 years
right
before. So but yeah,
and we don't know why he took so long and all that sort of stuff. Like, we don't know any of that sort of stuff, like with the in between.
He's very young.
Right. I mean, we assume that, yeah, but we don't. Yeah. We didn't know if he was held up for whatever reason or whatever. If he was just waiting for an opportune time. So all that will sort of come out. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've mentioned Tanya once or twice on here before. Cool. So
no, once or twice.
once or twice per recap per episode. So cool. All right. So let me see where we're at here. Oh, okay. This is the question that we were sort of alluded to before. So Marcus seems, at least currently, like the most level-headed in the group. Does he see himself as sort of the default leader of this group? And is that sort of the role that he would prefer to
have? He saw himself as a default leader leading them to the farm, because I think that was
his job, right?
His job,
so,
right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
But his background is a little bit more non-leadership.
Okay.
A lot of it's alone. maybe with a partner, but usually it's alone. So I don't think he would see himself or try to set himself up as the leader. He may speak up to try to guide the group to a certain goal if they're
Right.
directionalists. But
I mean, at this point, like, there's not a lot. I mean, you guys have had this sort of farm arc and stuff like that, but as far as like party goal, there hasn't been much. You needed to get to the farm, then you needed to survive the farm.
Right.
So right now it's almost like you got you. He's not necessarily the leader more as he is just like the peacekeeper. Like,
yeah, I think that's probably a good way to put it. Like it may come out later. Well, I imagine it would, but he probably has a dim view on organizations in general where leadership is involved.
Oh, okay.
Based on some of the stuff that happened to him in the past,
and that sort of stuff.
Which it's probably a little surprising based on his background, but he does have issues with that type of authority.
Yeah, him and Ash are going to get together.
I think that would be a little surprising. We'll see how that plays out.
Calling it now. Fawks Talks first. You heard it here. I guess that should have been the other thing that was mentioned to you, Justin, before. I literally just continually throw out fan theories. But I was right about Hannah, so whatever. Sort of. Okay, cool. So, this is something you mentioned before, April, so we can kind of expand on it a little bit too. With Tipper being an artificer, basically, how much of her inventions and flavor are worked out with you beforehand? So this is something I talked about with Diane and Chris's character, and then how much of that sort of is pre-show, and then how much of it is you just sort of letting it happen on the fly and fixing it later if need be.
Oh, so when Alicia said that she wanted to be an artificer, I was like, okay, sweet. I'm so happy because everybody else had already like said what they were going to be, and I was like, nobody picked this or this. No, like I was so surprised that we didn't have more robots. Because you could be an iBot, you could be a Mr. Handy, you could be. There were so many like really cool things. Yes, I was like, please. Cool. Which you'll see, I have plans for Mr. Sizemore sometime.
Oh yeah, that'll be
good. Yeah, it's gonna be great. But yeah, when she said she wanted to be an artificer, I was like, okay, we have that class requires a lot of changes, and so we were on the phone for like 2.5 hours working through her character sheet. Or Zoom call actually, and then just going over things like, okay, how do we explain this? How do we explain this? Everything that she, so we've talked about a lot of stuff like that, how we make real world sense. Some things will come up like just like it did this last week where she's like, oh, I need to do this healing. I'm going to throw him a stim pack, and I'm like, okay, take the stim pack out. She's like, no, I'm doing this spell. And oh, well then we'll say it's, something from Fallout, which is one of the antiseptics.
Sure.
And stuff like that. So just making sure that it fits with Fallout, which, I mean, for the most part, it's not hard. I mean, since she is a synth, shocking grass makes sense because she's made out of, circuitry and stuff and metal. And so.
Cool. Yeah. That's almost exactly how they did it on Chagall. I just was curious to know, because I think if I played one, I would just be inclined to, I would have some pre-approved things, but then, improv some things and see what happens. Okay, but now I have a follow-up question because I got to know, because I haven't seen the system. So what all, like, we have 2 fighters, a rogue, an artificer, and a barbarian.
Mm-hmm.
What other races are there, I guess, or what other additional classes? I wouldn't imagine there's additional classes.
There are. Oh man, I wish I had it. I can pull it up real quick.
Yeah, that's fine.
There's a lot of really cool stuff. Yeah, there's nobody picked. There's also, which is funny because everybody's been asking Clay if he's a ghoul, and I'm like, there is a ghoul class.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, there's 2 different kinds of super mutants. One of them did not make sense for the timeline. Same thing with the I think Jordan was wanting to be something that it didn't make sense with the timeline, or part of something that didn't make sense with the timeline. Look it up real quick because on the top of my head, like I made everything in D&D Beyond. You have no idea how long it takes
Yeah.
to make. It's basically like everything that they have in D&D Beyond already for Dungeons and Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
I had to do that all myself because I had to put all the guns, all like everything.
Oh,
Like,
right.
like make everything. It was insane. Which I didn't have to do that, but Solo was like, "Are you going to have an overlay?" And I was like, "Yes, I want to." Like,
Yeah, for sure.
trying to make this as awesome as possible, and yeah, it's cool. Like, I got approval from the guy from Spilled Ale Studios. I told him, "Hey, we're going to be doing this. Can I use yours?" And he's like, "Of course." And I'm going to promote you like on my page, and so you can go to you just type D&D Fallout
Yeah.
and Google search, and you can find it. It's the
Hmm.
wiki dot. So
That's
yeah,
cool.
it's pretty cool.
I'm gonna have to look it up now.
Yeah, so there's Artificer, Barbarian, Bard, Fighter, Rogue. Bard is another one that you have to change a lot of
Sure.
it. So you cannot do Cleric, Druid, Monk, which I feel like you could kind of have done Monk.
Yeah, I feel like you could.
Paladin, Ranger, which is weird. Sorcerer, Warlock, and Wizard. Those are no classes. But Bard and Artificer were the ones that are heavily restricted, and you have to change a lot. So
that's weird about Ranger, but I guess I can kind of see it. And Gunslinger was part of it, or did you guys have to add that too?
Was not.
Was not.
They had, in fact, a couple of them. I think in the subclasses they had to be limited to like Eldritch Knight and stuff like that as well. But
right.
Gunslinger seemed like a natural fit. Modifications had to be made because like firearm proficiency is not like a thing in Fallout. Everyone's proficient with a firearm.
Sure.
So that's like your level 3 thing you get as a gunslinger.
Right.
You have it at level 1, so it's not really that cool. Then a lot of stuff later levels revolves around reloads and stuff like that. There's a very specific rule set for reloads in this Fallout world that he already designed, which worked really well too. So we had to tweak some of those so it would. Otherwise, there's really nothing.
It's like why
the gunslinger doesn't get a whole lot. So
sure,
we made a couple tweaks here and there to make it work, and we'll see how it plays once we get to those levels. But I think it all seemed pretty fair.
That's cool. Yeah, I like that gunslinger class, so that's neat.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
He played a gunslinger in our home campaign.
I do. I played a gunslinger monk.
Yeah.
He's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like multi-classing into things that don't make a whole lot of sense.
No, that sounds awesome.
Oh, it's a ghoul, human, dwarf, synth, slag, vault dweller, wastelander. There are robots, like I said, the iBot, the Mr. Handy, Protectron. Which
dude,
Ash hates.
I wish it was a whole group of robots and Utahime's character.
It would be freaking amazing. Super mutants, Nightkin, which that was one that you couldn't do. And then, just dogs.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Now I'm just thinking, have you ever seen that movie Equilibrium with Christian Bale?
Like one of my favorite movies.
Now that's what I'm thinking a monk gunslinger is.
Not too dissimilar.
All right, cool. Anyway, sorry, off topic. All right, so where were we? Let's see here. Okay, so this is just a little bit. Again, you don't have to get all spoilery and stuff because I know it'll come out eventually, Justin. But Marcus has expressed a desire for caps, right, and his job with the post. But what are some of his deeper motivations within the wasteland? Like, what's he wanting to accomplish and that sort of thing?
He hasn't been a courier for all that long.
Okay.
Probably for, I can't remember specific. I think it's been only a year or two.
Oh, okay.
Maybe slightly longer. He was a part of a larger organization prior to that, which I don't think that's too big of a spoiler.
It hasn't come out yet, but I mean, it's up to you if you want to reveal that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a spoiler. I don't think he was part of the Desert Rangers.
Oh, okay.
Now the reason why he joined, or why he left, is probably a spoiler. But prior to that, also not a spoiler. He actually grew up somewhat privileged, considering we're in a wasteland.
Exciting.
He grew up on a
Hence the
cattle.
restraint.
He grew up on a ranch.
Oh, okay, maybe not.
that his family ran. So
Oh, okay.
he was fairly well off.
Sure.
And then he left for whatever reason to join the Rangers, and then he left that organization for whatever reason. His motivations right now, it's just kind of default survive.
Oh, okay. So
the caps are primarily
jobs
because he as you probably saw in the first episode, he makes bad decisions with money, betting 20
Correct.
caps on a fight that was obvious to everyone was not going to be won.
Yeah, right.
Well, meta was obvious to everyone wasn't going to be won.
Yeah, right. And he didn't try to get him back, right? I can't remember. I know a lot of people tried to get caps back, but I don't think he did.
He lost his money.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Marcus would have tried to get it back unless he felt cheated. Then he probably would.
Right.
And slightly meta. I mean, my charisma is a 1. So I don't know.
But even then, I mean, yeah, I guess that's the meta reason. But even that from the get go, like he just seems older is probably not the right word, but more well traveled, more world experienced than.
I think some of his background probably plays into that. With the Rangers, with the ranch, when that's flushed out a little bit, there's a reason why. And I don't know what everyone's ages is, to be honest with you, in the characters.
Yeah, Clay seems young. Petra seems young only because of their decision making.
Yeah, he probably is. I didn't give him a specific age. I just kind of left it at late 20s, mid 30s, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So it could be that he's kind of older among the group.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, the travels and everything came a bit of maturity.
Yeah. Yeah, I get all that. Yeah, you can definitely see that come through.
But I think everyone's been playing that pretty heavily there in terms of their background influencing their choices and decisions.
For sure. And really outside of Tipper, who is making a concerted effort to tell, I mean, she has a secret that needs to be known.
She sure as hell is trying to tell everybody.
She's trying to tell everybody.
In the most unique ways.
She needs to point stop now. I think everyone that needs to know knows.
Yeah. I can't wait to see what she does with that shotgun and Ash.
It's gonna be bad. But I think outside of that, you don't. I mean, again, you guys are very much in your infancy of being together, so you guys don't know a lot about anybody. We've gotten tidbits and stuff like that. We know certain personality characteristics, but we have no idea why they exist. So.
We know there's a hatred on Ash's part for machinery.
We
don't know why. Yeah,
we're getting the sense that Petra dislikes ghouls,
but you don't know why.
Yeah,
I love all this.
We're getting the sense that Clay is on. We kind of get a feel that he's obviously on the run from. He wants to keep moving. We're kind of getting a play on some of his family history.
Yeah.
So,
very, very surface level right now. So
yeah, for sure. Well, it's only a little bit.
Not 9 episodes, 8 episodes, whatever it is.
Yeah. So it takes a while for that stuff to kind of come to fruition.
All right, we got a couple more minutes left. I have some Wizards questions that I want to get through. All right, real fast, non-spoilery because obviously it's coming out soon. How was Killian's prom? And any fun details you can share?
It was hot.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm just kidding.
Should have asked.
I'm kidding. Nothing happened. Or did it? It was good. It was good. I found out, she found out a lot of information. She had a little bit of a President Snow Mockingjay moment.
Okay.
With
all right.
the headmaster.
It was so good. It was so good.
Oh my God. That's terrible.
I'm excited.
Okay. Yeah. So that was really fun. Getting to have that dance with Donadelle. Some interesting moments with her sister. I got to dance with a lot of people.
Yeah, I didn't.
You wouldn't. I should have. We should have.
Well, you fed me a drink. I figured that was going to be the next step.
Yeah, I made you take alcohol, and you're like, "Why does it burn?" Just have a few more. You'll be fine. It'll stop burning. You're good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It was fun. I cannot wait till people see it. If anything, just for the cosplay, because that was a lot of fun too.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's see here. Okay, so if Marcus has had his way, perfect scenario, it went exactly how he wanted it, how would that a fight with Harry went?
We would have gotten him back into the cellar and
So no
secured it.
killing. So no
Well,
killing.
well, we would have
No,
gotten him
we're
back
so
into the
close.
cellar, and then had a hard discussion with Hannah about the fact that he needs to go.
Okay. All right. So
I
talk.
wanted
get
to be
her
able
approval.
to convince her that her husband's gone and this is not him, and it's just been demonstrated that it's not him. Like, her Harry
Right.
probably, I don't know him, but he probably never would have attacked her like that. I would hope not. So hopefully that would have been the ideal scenario. Put him in the cellar, convince her what's going on, snap her out of her delusion, and put him down as humanely as possible.
So you and Ash would have had the same approach.
Yes, although possibly for different reasons. Ash's
Great
may have been for the fact that money. Maybe we could have got more money out of it.
That's fair. That's fair.
I don't know if she said it or not, but I think Ash did say, like, she, Hannah was our employer. So
yeah, she did say that, but then it was kind of like a hindsight thing. Like, it was like, we want more caps because of what we just did.
Sure.
But I don't know if that would have been the case in the beginning. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
I figured that was the case. I just wanted to hear it from you.
That was
Petra never gave anybody the fucking option.
No. Although I think we'll find that probably makes some sense.
Yeah, I mean, it was gonna happen. The order of operations may have changed, but I think
yeah. I mean, everyone knew something was fucking going on.
100%.
But Marcus chose to believe that this is just a sweet old lady who's freakishly strong.
She was.
She's really not. You're just really that weak.
She is so strong.
Okay, last question, because it's getting about that time. What does Kai think of Thegan at this point in the series? Amazing.
Because okay, I know what all you did this past episode. Like, I do.
Mhm.
Kai does not.
That's true. A lot of people don't.
Yeah, we don't know. I didn't get to see all that. I wish I would have, because it might have changed what Kai did.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're a lot more on the same page than we were in the beginning, when I was just like, who's this dude who is like brooding and, I thought, beating on his friend and like making her like his servant and slave, and then now he's hitting on my sister.
Sure.
And like, but he's still like with this other chick. I don't like this dude. So, but now after we've talked, I mean, we've talked a few times now, and I feel like we're a lot more on the same page, and that our friendship could be mutually beneficial somewhere down the line if things go. I will
say this. So, I mean, there are like so whenever Magnus asked Thegan, like for the list of who was untouchable,
I know.
I probably forgot some people, but like the people that he said can like rest assured that they like have his full undivided like faith and loyalty. You know what I mean? Like, that's as terrible as a Goliath as he may be. You can rest assured in that. So 100%. I think that's true. Yeah, I'm getting comments that I forgot Lily. I didn't forget Lily. So,
it was on purpose.
Yeah,
Poor Lily.
that one wasn't meta. Okay, cool. All right. Well, I think that's it. I think we're at the end of the show, and we have reached our time. I'm sorry. I would like to talk about it more, but we're out of time. So go ahead and enter a raffle, please, this time, and be entered into the Between Show giveaway. Be sure to stick around. We got Monsters of the Week coming up next, so please stick around for that. It's gonna be awesome. And until next week, for Fawks' sake, be nice to each other.